Are there any additions or corrections? If none, I need a motion to approve.
We approved minutes from last meeting.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Looks like we have no citizen communication and no special presentation, so we'll move right into Gwen, your report.
Yep, our June operating income increased $138,000 from last year and increased $5,334,000 year to date. We're 75% of the year is finished, and we're right on target for our projected income. Purchase power expense decreased $109,000 from June of 2020. This was the first month of the new billing on MPUA, so we're hoping that trend continues, or anticipating that trend to continue. Our purchase power increase was over $4,265,000 year to date. This year to date increase is due to the cold weather in February. All of that resulted in an operating loss of $160,000 for the month and $4,575,000 year to date. Total net loss for the month of June was $115,000, but our year-to-date net income is $4,468,000, and obviously that year-to-date net income is largely due to the Ameren sale.
Okay. Then the statistical report. So the cost per kilowatt hour on the statistical report was 6.17 cents, which is lower than in a report over the last 12 months. So that was good. It's going to be highest probably in the spring and the fall,
Right.
because the fixed rate for capacity is going to be higher per kilowatt hour because we use less kilowatt hours. Right. So we need a motion to approve the financial statement for the city.
I move we approve the financial statement for the city.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Anything else, Gwen?
Nope, that's it.
All right, Jason.
All right. So we finally have gotten our e-bills and text-to-pay online. We did a soft launch about 10 days ago. Didn't have any problems. We actually fully launched today. We put it out on Facebook, started advertising it, started pushing it. Included in the packets is an example of, so on the left side of your paper sheet is what the text messages look like, just as kind of so you guys can see. And all you do is you receive that text and you can reply pay, and it'll pay your bill. You can do it all from your phone. The e-bill is on the right side, kind of just gives you a rundown with your bill, the due date. You can click on the dashboard to go pay. So far we haven't had any problems with it. We did just launch though this afternoon, but we did, like I said, from the soft launch we've had no problems, and we've had decent sign up, to be honest with you, for something we hadn't really pushed.
So after the meeting, can you show me how to do it on my phone?
So you have to sign up for it on a computer, but you could do it from a standard flip phone. It wouldn't be a problem.
Can you really?
Yep, because it's all through a text message. It'll just text that, and all you'll have to do is reply pay. I don't have my phone on you, otherwise I could literally show it to you, but it's just a regular text.
Okay. All right, well, that's good.
And that's all I've got, unless you guys have any questions.
All right. Chad. Thank you.
In your packet, some highlights of the Development Review Committee meeting on July 20th. Pretty straightforward in terms of RMU potential impacts and integration with these topics. Missouri Baptist Convention looking at putting a sign, needing a variance for a sign on a facility there at 11th Street. Quick Trip going through and getting a sign variance again on their project because it had expired. And then rezoning some property on North Rucker, didn't look like any concerns for RMU. And then for our drive, also some rezoning. That one's a little bit unique that there's currently Intercounty Electric currently has lines through the parcel and serves the parcel. So we identified, and in advance of that, the owner and potential developer of the property is aware that RMU would serve it, so it's not expected to be any concern, but actually he's got to work with Intercounty probably more than anything else just to try to deal with the location of the lines relative to what he's trying to construct. So, but we would provide electric service to the new facility. So, operating report, some of the highlights there. University Drive relocation, for anybody that's obviously driven up and down Highway 63, it's pretty easy to see all the progress going on there for the contractor constructing the street. Our portion of it for the electric revisions is more or less completed. We've got one span of line left on State Street just to be able to continue as a backup and a support for the line that's on State Street from 11th Street going north. Otherwise, we've removed everything going from Spring over to State Street that used to serve the university and a few services over there. And then also, we've replaced a couple of poles in the area being impacted by the roadway construction. So, you guys have also been working on other capital projects and routine maintenance projects. One I might highlight, not as large of a project, but just as an example, continuing commercial redevelopment that we talk about every once in a while, 1051 East 18th Street, the old car wash there. For anybody that's been by that, kind of a unique little project where they're converting the car wash into some commercial space for, I think it was in the newspaper for talking about some food service areas. So, so we set a new transformer and revised the metering for that commercial renovation. We also last week conducted a generation test every couple of years for our MOPEP commitment. We test all of our generation all at the same time. That was conducted last Thursday. Overall, everything went pretty well. They are mechanical units, so unfortunately had a few mechanical bugs. Thought we had everything ready to go the day before. Had a radiator fan, for whatever reason, that had been replaced. Decided to slow down towards the very end of the run. And then also had a radiator leak at the very end of towards the end of the run on a different unit. So nothing catastrophic. We'll continue to work with MOPEP to see what they would propose for providing credits in terms of our capacity rating. And then Heritage Substation, this was a week ago Monday. We had a failure late in the day on one of the circuits out of Heritage. What it ended up being was a underground failure out of the circuit of the wiring going out of the breaker to the riser pole. The guys ended up replacing that wiring from the breaker all the way to the riser pole. And remember when they did that, it had failed once at the pole before, and there had already been a splice on that line in one place, so decided to replace the whole thing. So then now we're looking at whether or not to potentially replace one of the other two feeders that comes out of that circuit in the same vicinity. So as time allows. So
Where was that at again?
Heritage Substation on Liberty Drive. I probably should have put Liberty. I should have mentioned Liberty too. Water, continuing to work through water main replacement projects. University Drive relocation. We've done some work. Contractor has some work to do, so our work is pretty well wrapped up for what we can do at this point in time. Contractor's got a couple of mains they need to relocate or revise, and then we'll wrap that one up. Any work that we have to do with it, and then the guys have started replacing the water main on Strobach, and then also Ridgeview Road. Those two projects, while I've got them listed separately there, they're kind of in conjunction with each other, real close to each other. So Ridgeview, we've started there, being that that's the one that the city's going to replace the street surfacing. Strobach, we've had a couple of leaks on that one. Obviously, pretty busy street for everybody that's in that area and familiar with it. So right there in front of Walmart. And then Walker Avenue, we've got a 1-inch line on Walker. So while we're dealing with Strobach, we're going to get the 1-inch line and Walker replaced also. So it'll be kind of a unique one in terms of traffic control. So Service Department, we had a new laborer one start for us on July 6th, Chris Palmer, and then MPUA lineman training. Jay Roberts attended lineman training course on June 8th through the 11th, fourth year on-site class for 3-phase transformer banking and troubleshooting. So those are the highlights I can think of in my report. Be glad to entertain any questions or any more information I can provide.
I saw some trucks over by North Pine Street. In the past, I
Electric.
think fiber optic probably they're working on, but
So we're completing we're working towards the end of the project to rearrange some of the system on Pine and Elm to be able to eliminate some lines on Pine between north of 12th Street.
yeah.
So there's a little bit of work left to complete that project. In fact, I think they've got an outage scheduled tomorrow to do the last of that conversion work. So.
Yeah, good. Okay. Anything else for Chad?
Thank you.
Thank you. Rodney?
All right, I've got the one item on the agenda, and I got several miscellaneous things I just want to get you the board informed of. So every year we get an actuarial evaluation from our retirement program. So I've included that in your packet today. Page 13 has generally the best information and stuff I usually look to. It has number of employees, payroll, average rates of pay, age, service years, etc. And that's where I pulled the information for today. So our unfunded accrued liability right now is a negative $735,000. What that means is our retirement fund is overfunded, 7.8%. Basically, we're 107, almost 108% funded, which is great. Typically the retirement programs, if you're at 80% funded or better, you're considered doing very well. So we're extremely well positioned with our retirement program for the utilities, and then again, I will stress loggers. It does a very good job with their investments and all the participating members in loggers, the local area governments, they get a bill from loggers, they pay their bill. So it's never an issue of appropriation or other kinds of things. We just pay our bill like we're supposed to, and that keeps this program very well funded. So again, I just want to let you know that we are down. Our funding level is down slightly from last year, but we're still in a very good position on the loggers report. Is there any questions on that before I move on with a few miscellaneous things? Just a quick reminder that next month the board typically performs a review of the general manager. I'll get some information out to you this month on that. Next item quickly is today I was nominated by MPUA to serve on the ABPA Deed Board of Directors. That's again American Public Power Association. I think I mentioned to you that they may do that. They submitted that nomination today. The current board of directors chooses who they want, so they may get a handful of applications for the region we're in. So I'll know the answer to that maybe in a month or so. The Budget Committee is finalizing our recommendations for wages, benefits. I think we're at the point now where we're going to have full staff meetings tomorrow and talk to staff about kind of what we think the final version is going to look like. After that, we'll schedule a special board meeting for approval as we get our policies all put together. So probably mid-month in August, we'll be looking at having a special board meeting to approve kind of those final recommendations and make that presentation. Along with that, we are going to have the office and service department closed tomorrow from 11 to 3. And so we can get everyone in the same room and have one big meeting with everybody. And that'll be held over at the center. And I think that is all I had for miscellaneous. But happy to answer any questions on the loggers report or any of those items.
So you got two of the board members going to be at the meeting, the ones who are on the committee?
Tomorrow we'll have Dr. Showalter will be attending the meetings tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Mr. Reed has expressed that if we need some follow-up, he would be available Thursday afternoon to meet with staff as well.
Okay.
So I think we're in good shape for tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. If
So-
no other questions, I'm happy to start new business.
Go for it.
All right, so first we got the FY 2022 rate and fee modifications. Again, these are exactly what you saw a few weeks ago. Again, nothing very significant in changes there. These are really more fee structures and not rates. We're not changing rates on anything this year. So unless there are any questions on that, those would be ready for approval. And again, I'll probably make some notes, but the City Council typically in August gets a report from me where I present the budget and any rate changes. I'll probably mention that we had some fee changes, but we did not do any rate changes. And so those are ready for approval.
Okay, need a motion to approve the equipment rate schedule,
It'll be all the rate, that and everything else behind that, the fee schedule.
area lighting, roadway lighting,
Right.
deposits, net meter service. Electrical construction, and miscellaneous fees.
I move to approve the rate and fee schedule as presented.
Second motion.
Before we go on, the last page, can you go over that?
The interconnection operating agreement?
Yeah.
This was a rate that we had developed when the solar village, when the university temporarily converted their solar village and had a fuel cell and some other things. And so we had to have a rate that allowed us to have demand charges and net energy credits. It was a very special rate for a very specific purpose. They have since removed the fuel cell, and that's no longer operational. So basically all we're doing is deleting or eliminating this whole rate schedule.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Motion carries.
And again, I won't spend a lot of time on it because we've talked about this for the last several meetings, but included in your packet is our final budget. It addresses the reduction in power supply costs going forward. We do show for next year, FY 2022, we have showing a slight positive change in cash of about $700,000 if we do what we're thinking we're going to do, and also proposes spending up to about $8 million in identified projects out of this restricted AXTI electric reserve account. Again, that's pretty ambitious if we get all that done, but I want to make sure we show that so that when I present this to City Council, we have these earmarked items in there. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on that, but substantially is unchanged. We have tweaked a little bit, and our change in cash has gone down a little bit, but again, we're showing a pretty good positive number for the year. And our goal next year would be to start rebuilding reserves that we spent for the February event.
Okay. Yeah, there'd be almost no chance we could spend the $8 million
Oh, no.
in a year.
I think I'd
It'd take
say
that long to get it
it's
designed.
unlikely just in trying to get the paperwork done and trying to keep things moving. So.
Yeah. Okay, any questions on the budget? You can have your paperwork. Oh, we need a motion to approve.
Move the budget be approved as submitted.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carries.
Bid 21-116E is for some triplex wire. This is some number 2 underground 3-phase conductor, and this is a restocking order. But with the bid quantity being 6,000 feet, the actual quantities that show up on a reel are always close to that, but always a little bit different. So, but that's just expected. You'll see there that we received 4 bids. The low bid of those that submitted the right product, the triplex wire, the low bid was from Wesco, typical or frequent vendor of ours. We've always had good luck with. Their price was $75,060, and we would recommend approval of the bid from Wesco.
Okay, you said that was a low bid?
That was the low bid that met the specifications.
Oh, I see, okay. How does that compare to a year ago, or did you?
It's been a lot longer than that since we bought this
Okay.
wire, and
Certainly,
Trying
it's
to remember.
the one thing, and Chad, we don't have it in this particular bid, but what we're seeing a lot from the vendors now is escalation clauses, just because the material, everything is so volatile right now. So I don't believe this bid has an escalation clause in it.
They did not include it. Whether they forgot to or not, they didn't include it, is the key.
Yeah. But it's probably double what it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's,
Based on
everything's trended
what
up.
I've
Yeah.
seen.
I think
Yeah.
it's about 50 to 70% higher than it was 5 to 7 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it's some of those prices now are higher, obviously, but at some
Yeah.
point in time there was some spikes in prices years ago. There's some of the transformers we bought a year ago that were the same price as they were 10 years ago.
Yeah. Anyway,
So normally on these, we'd see who opened them and who witnessed it, but I don't see it on this one.
We missed that. We missed processing that. Yeah, it was opened by, I think, Nicole and witnessed by, I think, Hank or myself. So we had that processed on the final form.
But we did do a formal bid open.
Yes.
Okay.
okay. Need a motion to approve?
I'll move we approve the low responsible bidder there, Wesco.
In a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
The final part of new business is approval of some updates to our rules and regulations. We have our attorney here, Carolyn Bush-Jost. She is going to address this with you guys. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, you're pretty close.
Sorry, I realized it after we got in
Bush
here.
Jost, the hard O. All right. Good evening, guys.
Hello?
So we were asked to do a review of the rules and regulations just regarding some of the legal questions, and I'm not sure if I need to move that or not. We did do that review, and just want to point out there's nothing inherently incorrect or wrong with the rules and regulations, nothing illegal, but just thought it might be time that we freshen or update some of the language in an effort to limit any misinterpretations or misunderstanding as to the intent of the rules for enforcement purposes, specifically the issue regarding marital status information that was previously in there, or that is currently in there as it relates to services. The changes that we propose still protect RMU with provisions that allow RMU to collect the information they need to minimize loss due to indebtedness and or determine if services can be provided. We removed language or terms requiring spousal application information or signature for credit approval, but we did add language about identifying adult age household members being required on the application. So I'd be happy to point out the specific areas that we changed if you would like me to do so.
I mean, are all the changes marked in here?
They are, I believe they are.
Yeah, everything's in your red line version.
Yeah, okay.
The red's added, looks like blue's the
Red is added and blue is striped.
Yeah, so we added some language to D2.
Thank you for that, by the way.
You gotta have that when you make changes. And then, so D2, once you add any adult household member, I think that section E and F allow RMU to decide if they will continue supplying service or if they need to discontinue them if the information was either false or there wasn't sufficient information, or that information turns out that another adult household member, which could inherently include a spouse, has indebtedness, prior indebtedness somewhere else, because you have to disclose where else you might have gotten services or anything else. Section G, we deleted the last sentence about if the applicant is married, both the spouse and applicant have to be, both have to execute the application, just deleted that. And then, so that the marital status does not determine whether or not if you can apply or not, or how it will be viewed. And then on page 4, the non-residential customer, there's 2 other sections that have nothing to do with the marital status. Section H has to do with like a corporate entity, and And if the refusal of the applicant to make such a submission to provide, we just change the word shall to may. It may constitute a good and sufficient reason for RMU to deny the application. And then under page 4, the non-residential customer, we just changed some of the words so you don't have to get every member of the LLC to have to sign and their spouses. We took spouses out and said any member may sign, and then we changed the language on a third party, or added the language that a third party is also an option to execute a guarantee. I don't know how often you guys use that, or if that comes up. So I think those are the only changes that we proposed be made based on the inquiry that we got.
Good.
One other change I just want to note, and it was more of a wording issue, but like section 7, we changed where it used to say residential street lighting, we've just changed it to roadway. And we've done that consistently throughout. We just changed it from street lighting to roadway lighting. But I just wanted to note it since it was a change.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the modifications to the general rules and regulations.
I move to approve the modifications to general rules and regulations.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very
Carol.
Thank you.
We don't have an executive session, so that's all the business we have for tonight.
Well, okay then. So we need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.